Yeah, you can, yeah. Welcome everybody to the program that matters. And we have lined up our moderators, and Professor Oladevis, please, you start. After describing me a bit, I will talk. Professor Usman will engage the comment and question and answer time, and we'll call it a day.
Okay.
So, please. So that's it. You're struggling with something, don't worry, we'll cruise. You know, beginning of whipping is difficult, but once you start, once you start, you cruise. So you can start.
Thank you very much, Dr. Charles Sibyl. Good morning, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful Saturday morning, and you're welcome to the Bluebird TV. It's my pleasure to welcome you this morning, and moderating this session with me is my brother and colleague, Professor Musa Usmanu from Usman Radio University, Sokoto. Yeah. You're very much welcome, sir.
Thank you
Let me say quickly, we have just 6 participants on this call presently, but we are expecting many more to come in. I know, you know, Nigerians, we always like to do Nigerian time, but I am honored and pleased with Bluebird TV starting on time, because honestly, if we want our nation and our profession to move forward, we must be a people of time. So thank you, everybody that is on this call. I welcome you. I can see Professor Ayo, Professor Bulus, Atam, Samson Agbese, Professor Ode. I can see, you know, quite some people on this call this morning. And we know that our topic is an interesting one that is very, very interesting. And in our time that we're talking about economy, how to improve our economy, there's a need for us to think about things that will improve productivity so we can have better economy and we can contribute our quota to our country, Nigeria. And the topic this morning that we're talking about is calcium metabolism in laying domestic chicken. And let me quickly say that once we get to 100, other viewers can actually go to YouTube on Bluebird TV. So it's not a problem. If somebody is telling you, oh, I cannot enter, just tell the person, go to YouTube, click in and join in the conversation. I can assure you we are going to have a very good time. And for those on YouTube, I would like to tell them that they should watch, they should kindly subscribe to Bluebird TV, they should like and share and make this go viral so that everybody can know what we're doing here. We're not joking here. We're really, really working. And I believe that we're going to have a very good time. Quickly, I'll go to the profile of the speaker today. Our speaker is no other person other than Dr. Charles Ibe, the Ochendo himself. So I'll quickly go to his profile, which I believe we introduced him to us this morning. Dr. Charles C. Ibe obtained DVM, that is Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, in 1987 from the UNN. So he's a lion. He's a lion. He's also a fellow of the College of Veterinary Surgeons, Nigeria, in 2011 in avian medicine specialty. So that shows he's well qualified to talk about this topic this morning. He's an elected member of Veterinary Council of Nigeria from 2003 to 2008. He was re-elected in 2008 to 2013. He was the national president of the Nigerian Veterinary Medical Association from the year 2009 to 2011. Star achievements mobilized 56 veterinarians as officers of Nigerian Police Force. Now, most of them are wearing the rank of Assistant Commissioner of Police. That's a big achievement. He also mobilized 7 veterinarians into Nigerian Armed Forces for the first time as professional cadres into the Army. Today, they are all wearing the rank of Major. flowed the salary, also flowed the salary cadre of veterinarians from MSS to commerce in line with extant policies. And many of us are benefiting from that up till today. We cannot but thank him enough for that. Many other achievements on job-related appointments to other advocacies that enthrone the environment for fertile veterinary practice in the country is also involved in that. Dr. Charles Ibe is an astute administrator and a successful entrepreneur. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, welcome with me Chief Dr. Charles Ibe, the Akrika Ochendo of Okija, Eagle Eye Professional Beamer and elder statesman, as he takes the floor. Let's give him a round of applause, please. A round of applause, please. You're welcome. You have the floor, sir.
Hey, you're overflowing me with charges.
Honestly, that is just it.
I
That is
think
who
this
you
is
are.
like a police charge sheet.
That is actually what you are.
Charging me with a lot of toga. It's okay. yeah, welcome actually everybody. And the one question I'll ask, if I'm an entrepreneur, what am I doing with the calcium metabolism? I should be counting money somewhere else. so that's it. Anyway, let's we will get. And I will say, let me try and share so that because I think I did some corrections along the line. But if it's
sorry,
yeah.
why Dr. Ibe is sharing, please, if you can put on your camera, it would be nice so that we can have a beautiful photograph as the session is going on. But if you are not in a comfortable place, no problem. Thank you very much.
So I think
yes, we can see your slide, but put it
see,
on PowerPoint share on slide sharing.
Slide. No, I think I'm there.
You're there, not yet.
Really?
Yes, there's a button down that will show. So it won't be all your slide at once. It will be slide sharing.
You can see I'm out of it.
There's a button down you will see it like a tree. Just click on it and it will show your slide one at a time.
It's like a tree. I'm not seeing anything.
But did you see 4 boxes under your screen? 4 boxes under your yes, white 4 boxes.
No, I'm
and
not
then there's the next one that looks like a book opening, and then there's another
this
one.
one? No, this one is no. I'm out of it already. Yeah, maybe I'll stop. I'll go back. I'm going back. Don't worry. We'll get to it.
Okay, sir. You're all welcome.
So, it's still going back and forth. Anyway, let's deal with it as it is.
Yes, we can continue. Just start. All the same.
I think you should.
I'm really fighting with my laptop too. I don't know why the laptop is
sorry
today.
Yeah, okay.
Giving me headache.
Yeah, why is it giving you headache?
Just go to PowerPoint sharing. You will see it under. I mean the baseline. Yes, excellent. You're on PowerPoint sharing now.
Am I? Okay. But I'm not seeing the PowerPoint right now. So what's going on? I'm not seeing the PowerPoint. I'm only seeing the, okay, let me see.
We are seeing your YouTube page.
But I see my YouTube page. So
yes.
What's going on? I think you can help me out of this mess. Let me get out of the YouTube page. It's still sharing. But anyway, let me see. What's the problem? Are you seeing me?
I am not.
You're not
Yes,
seeing me.
I can see your slide now.
You can see my slide.
Yes.
Is it okay?
It's not on PowerPoint show. That's just, but we can see. Maybe probably you should just continue. But if Dr. Agbese has it and he can share on PowerPoint, but we can see the slides.
You can see the slides.
Yes,
okay.
We can see the slides. Okay.
Okay. But I'm not seeing this slide. Let me.
We are seeing it.
Okay, you are seeing it. Are you seeing me?
Yes, I can see you.
You can see me. Okay. Yes. We can continue then after.
Yes, sir, we can continue while Agbese works on that.
Yes. So this is an interesting topic for us in the veterinary world. I invited Professor Lawrence here. I don't know where he's coming, who was head of Department of Biochemistry, Faculty of Biological Sciences, because we studied together when we were doing biochemistry at University of Nigeria, in the mid-80s. And well, the one thing is that in calcium metabolism is that there are a lot of things we should put under consideration. It's not packing calcium is the key, but doing it rightly. Because you can pack calcium and give your best calcium, formulate high calcium diet, and it's not bioavailable. Even if it's bioavailable, it might not be bioutilized, because if you miss a dysfunctional eggshell gland, which we'll discuss later, there's going to be a big problem. So what we should know significantly here is that calcium metabolism, especially in egg production, is a function of breed, strain, or environment, or rather is a function of intrinsic and extrinsic forces at play in response to calcium demand. What do I mean here? Some breed need calcium. Some breed produce eggs more. They have prolific egg producers. You don't expect the breeder of broiler to lay the same amount of eggs with the breeder of layers, and you don't expect some strains of layers to lay the same with the ones that has bred to be highly prolific, like the Leghorn, the white Leghorn, the Asa white, Asa brown. All those white birds that lay white eggs, they are prolific egg producers. So if you formulate your feed and then you've been in a brown birds or black birds, and you are producing feed for brown and black birds, and then you are using it for layers, for the white breed of, I'm talking about white breed of birds that lay white eggs. I'm not talking about the white breed of birds that lay brown eggs. You are going to run inside a lot of problems. So every strain of bird had its own demand. We know that broilers are breeders, lay eggs to hatch to broiler birds. So, but they're naturally meat breed. They're not egg breed, but you are forcing them to lay eggs. Agreed. But you see, the percentage of egg they lay is not as good. It's not much. In fact, if you get up to 70, 80%, you are high. You are on top of the class. Meanwhile, the other ones can give you 99. And then the prolific egg producers, the white ones, can give you up to 99%, 99.5%, as against 85 to 90% of those that are bred to lay brown eggs. So you see, everything here borders on demand. Borders on demand. And then we come to the preamble. That means, what it means is that the more the birds lay eggs, the more there is demand for calcium to flow to their eggshells for egg production. And then we know that domestic chicken, which we are the focal point today in our discussion, are oviparous animals. That means they lay eggs. They don't born alive. And another critical thing that we're going to discuss, and we're going to discuss on it again, is that they don't sweat. They don't have sweat gland. And they have 2 pairs of wings as 4 limbs for cooling effects. In fact, they are using those wings to fly, to balance while they are flying, and they are called pneumatic bones. They are not hemopoietic bones. And then we have the calcium deployment from long hemopoietic bones. So when you're talking about calcium mobilization for egg production in birds, in chicken, you are not discussing about pneumatic bones. You are talking about hemopoietic bones, which is the femur and the tibia. You are not discussing the ulnar radius, radius and humeral bones. No. You are talking about the femur. Those ones you break in, so you suck their bone marrow. They have bone marrow, not the one that you open, and then there's nothing inside it apart from egg. And then one other thing, these are preamble things we'll know, so that by the time we go into the main topic, then we'll deal with the issue strategically. Calcium deployment, yes, at egg production, the layers are under physiologic hypercalcemia. That means the serum level of calcium is high, so that it will be meet up with the demand. And one good thing about chicken, about birds, is that demineralization is the one that gives out the calcium, and what we call calcium mobilization. And if you demineralize the compact bone, that's the bone that gives the chicken or the bird the integrity.
Let me know.
Are you hearing me?
Please, can we unmute our mics, please? Let's mute our devices.
If you demineralize the compact bone that gives the structure, the beds, the strength through which they carry themselves, you're going to run into problems, structural problem. So there's an alternative pathway to, once the birds start attaining puberty, the estrogenic activities, whereby, which we know that comes with puberty, will start generating, will start to influence the osteoblast, what I call osteoblastic activity, to generate the medullary bone. And the calcium deployed during the egg production, naturally, physiologically, are from the medullary bone. We will come to that later. And then, naturally, the parathyroid hormone, which I regimented as PTH, like another animal stimulates osteoclastic activity, which means that if there is increase in hormone, in parathyroid hormones, there will be an increase in osteoclastic activity. I will discuss osteoclastic activity. Now, the medullary bones are formed by switching, which I have discussed, osteoblastic activities, because the osteoblastic activities are for formation of the cortical bone. Well, I'll come to that. Formation of the cortical bone, which gives the strength. But because from osteoblasts, you get to osteocytes, and the osteocytes are the one that deposits calcium on the bone, that gives the bone integrity. Now, if we move down the line, we will see where I am right now. You will see the long bone. But let's deal with, a sketch. And the long bone is, and at the diaphysis, you have the compact, the periosteal, and the endosteal. And the endosteal, you have the compact bone. But once, if you look inside very well, at the wall of the medullary cavity, you will see spicules of bones. These are medullary bones. They are attached, they are innermost portion of the endosteal, and then attached to the wall of the medullary cavity. Then this is, but when we go to the natural, okay, this one will show you the spongy bone, which is above, it's a cancellous bone, and then the cortical bone. And then you can see, if you look inside a bit, after the compact bone, you see some spicules of bone radiating into the cavity. These are the medullary bone. And then you see, one thing, science has been on course. It doesn't end. The medullary bone is defined as non-structural bone. It doesn't give the bone the structure, the integrity, the strength. But it is where the calcium is mobilized through calcium resorption of the medullary bone for egg production, for eggshell production. But in electron micrograph, or what I'm seeing here, you can see some a bit of structure inside them. like the TB, which is trabecular bone. And then in the dark stained areas, you are seeing on this electron microscopy is the medullary bone. So one thing about the medullary bone is if you call it an ad hoc bone for egg production, because before the egg production is not there. Once you finish egg production, the trabecular bone, which we have seen now, will take over. Then the medullary bone will resolve. That is after the egg production, what is outside the laying period, when the birds are old, when they stop laying. And some birds, you can, for those of us who are farmers and those who consult farm, will know that at some point, even before at the peak of production, some birds will stop laying. And then we use our finger, 3 fingers, to measure the vent, to know which ones are not laying. And if you continue feeding those that are not laying, those that they are laying stopped abruptly, then you continue to waste your money. So what happened at 40 weeks? Between 40 and 45 weeks, or at higher between 40 and 50 weeks, select out those that are not laying. So those that are not laying, at the point of not laying, either they stopped abruptly, or they stopped after the normal egg cycle, the medullary bone will resolve. You won't see them anymore. What will be replaced is the trabecular. It will be there, but the trabecular. But if you see at this point of arrow, I am pointing an arrow right now. Yes. There's one arrow I am pointing. Let me see what I can expand here. Thank you. When you see this arrow, you see the dark stains of medullary bone connecting with the trabecular, the normal trabecular bone. You can see it. You can see it here. So, so science has started wondering whether, with later advances in research under electron microscopy, whether there is some sort of structure for medullary bone, which is insignificant as at now. Now, then when you move up, I think I backfired a bit. Yes. Now here I've discussed the electron microscopy of the medullary bone, how it is. Now I'm coming to the histology of the compact bone. But in the histology of the compact bone, which is the cortical bone, and one thing I want to say here, if you allow the calcium in the medullary bone to exhaust based on poor calcium formation, or based on some forces which I'll describe later, or maybe I will describe it now. Number one force is that if you are keeping the best prolific layers and they will come into production, and then by the time the medullary bone has started to be in function and you don't have replacement of calcium, there's going to go exhaustion because of their prolific nature of egg production. And by the time it finishes, it will not give you an instant justice. Let me just say this. That means instant report of signs of hypocalcemia, poor calcium mobilization. What it will do is that there will be a shift in emphasis to the compact bone or the cortical bone. And then if we're looking at the compact bone, and it is only when the calcium in the cortical bone got exhausted that you start seeing signs of hypocalcemia. At that point, your birds cannot stand because of osteoporosis. You start having weak eggshells. You can even have shellless eggs. But it doesn't start today. So the switch off of calcium mobilization from the medullary bone is not an instant justice for hypocalcemia. No. There is another alternative, but that alternative is you're going to the danger signal. And once you exhaust the bone in the compact bone that gives the bed in integrity, structure, there will be structural failure. And I just said that medullary bone is a non-structural bone, though there are some electron microscopy is revealing that there are some structures, bone trabecula inside it. But I don't think, but once, at that point of exhaustion of the medullary bone, you don't have any problem. But once it switches to a compact bone, mobilization of calcium in the compact bone, you are going to have a lot of problems. And one of the problems you're going to have is that now weak bone, which is osteoporosis, because of osteoclastic activity has moved. Because what I discussed before is that osteoclastic activity is for bone resorption. And at the medullary bone, you have osteoclastic activity in egg production. You still have osteoclastic activity in compact bone during the time the medullary bone, but it's only for wear and tear. Destroy the oocytes will replace. But this one, once you exhaust and it's not being replaced, it switches to cortical bone, that is the bone cortex, and that gives the compact bone, and you start having problems. And in between, what I have here is an osteon or Havesian, what I have a Havesian system. That's the functional unit of bone is osteon, just like the functional unit of kidney is nephron. That functional unit is where everything is like any others. You have a group of tissue. You have a tissue that is functional to the workability of that structure. You have, I'm here, you have the one, if you lift out one like the one below here, you can see the osteocyte sitting in the lacuna, and you see the lamellar lines and stuff like that. And then in this bone here, you see these are osteoclasts. The osteoclasts are for bone resorption and calcium mobilization. The osteocytes are precursor of osteoblast, which is a precursor of osteoprogenitor cell. And let me just mention here that originally, from when we were taught by both pathology and both biochemistry, we are taught that there's differentiation of osteoblast into osteocyte and osteoclast. No. But now it has found out that osteoclasts and osteocytes are their own. The osteocytes are from the osteoclasts are from the myeloid cell in the bone marrow. That is this myeloid stem cell. And those cells are cells that produce the white blood cells, while the osteoclasts are from the hemopoietic stem cells. And the precursor of osteocyte is osteoblast. So they are differently coming from two different sites. They are not from different cells. They are not from the same cells. There's no differentiation into either this or this. No. They only differentiate. The only thing the osteocyte can differentiate, so osteoblast can differentiate into is chondrocytes. Now, when we're talking about cartilages and stuff like that, no, but it's not differentiating into the osteoclast. Now, when we move down, you can see differentiation of osteoclast from the osteoclast precursor cell from the hemopoietic stem cells. From hemopoietic stem cells to osteoclast precursor, you can see as it's differentiating, it starts having multi-nuclear, and then without cilia. But by the time it is for bone resorption, you can see some cilia here coming up. Some cilia here coming up. And at this time, it is active. It is for bone resorption and then for calcium mobilization. Then when you move out the osteocyte, you can see the osteocyte, the mesenchyma or hemopoietic stem cells. Hemopoietic stem cells. From there, it goes to osteoblast. And then we are only after osteoblast. And then from the osteoblast, then to osteocytes. So you can see from here to osteoprogenitor cell to mature osteoblast, and then these osteocytes that sit inside the lacuna of the Havesian canal, of the Havesian system, and they look like stars. For those of us who study brain histology, there's one cell in the brain histology called astrocytes. No, that this one, it looks like those cells because they look like star. Now, let's get into the main calcium chemistry and physiology in bone. Calcium metabolism for shell formation, there's a lot of things. So because of time, we're limiting it to terribly the obvious. We have the metabolic alkalosis. I'm going to discuss one secondary to hyperventilation. Then you have infectious diseases like infectious bronchitis, Egg-drop syndrome. What Egg-drop syndrome does is to dysfunction the epithelial cells, the columnar epithelial cells that line the uterus, the oviduct, the oviduct, and then disallow the pouch cell that produce the calcium of transporting cells, and they are the ones that lay and then lay and beautify the eggs. So once it's dysfunction, no matter the amount of calcium you have, and the egg gets to the, that's why I say that bioavailability even is not bioutilization, because if it gets the target organ and it gets dysfunction, you're going to have a problem. In Newcastle disease, there is impairment, liver impairment, and there's gastroenteritis, and you know that calcium uptake cannot be good in that gastroenteritis, just like it's flushing them away. Then vitamin D3, affected by vitamin D3, which is active vitamin, active vitamin D3, which is active vitamin D from inactive vitamin D. Then various grades of mycotoxins can affect eggshell formation through calcium chemistry. Then phosphorus imbalance, we all know, poor calcium uptake, which vitamin D3 can go a long way in dealing with. If there's poor calcium uptake, then vitamin D3 might not be doing well, or might not be enough, or there might be gastroenteritis, which I have mentioned before. Another problem we might have in infectious bronchitis is that the deposit of the ureates, calcium ureates in the kidney, can dysfunction the calcium chemistry. And then old age is another thing. In old age or osteomalacia, I mean, as a level the birds will get to is they start having problem of the eggs, osteoporosis, because of upper uptake of calcium from the gastroenteric tract because of their age. And then there are a lot of anti-nutritive factors, most well in plant products. Soya, if you don't process your soya well, because processing soya by heating soya or roasting soya is to destroy the anti-nutritive factors. Now, then the calcium chemistry. Let us deal here with the calcium chemistry. Let me see whether I have this. Okay, yeah, I have this. So the calcium chemistry, well, we know that calcium belongs to group 2 of the periodic table. They're called alkaline earth metals because they can either hydroxylate or oxidate to form alkaline. Calcium oxide, which is quicklime, and then calcium hydroxide. And then one thing we should know is that in calcium chemistry, osteoclastic activity for egg shell formation. What I'm trying to say here is that deployed from the bone, calcium are deployed from the bone through hyperosteoclastic activity to meet up with the demand of the shell gland. It must be hyperosteoclastic activity, which means the serum level of calcium will be very high, or what we call physiological hypercalcemia. So then, under normal physiology, I've discussed about the medullary bone, but after exhaustion, then the deployment from the compact bone that affect the integrity of the compact bone and start having the poor shell formation. I'm just trying to poor shell coming at weak shell, miscellaneous shell, shellless eggs, and stuff like encode eggs and stuff like that, which is this. Yeah. But before then, there is one thing I want to discuss before I start rounding up in calcium chemistry. But during the heat stress, the environmental stress, environmental heat stress, as you are moving out of the thermoneutral zone, whereby thermoneutral zone is the temperature or the heat zone, whereby the birds can adjust themselves to the external temperature easily and they will not be affected. Beyond that, and as you are mounting the temperature, more especially if you're having humid heat. In the northern Nigeria, we have humid heat at this transfer period between the hot season and the rainy season. And once you start moving, and then if you move your hydrometer, if you put your hydrometer, the environmental humidity will be up to 80%, and the temperature will be close to 40%. Yes, for it, you are going to have a serious problem. Now, one physiological response to that, apart from radiating out heat from the comb, for those who have comb, but we know that the hens don't have much comb, is hyperventilation, panting. They'll be panting seriously. The idea of the panting is to take off heat from the body through latent heat of vaporization, vaporize the water, vaporize the water, and then release the carbon dioxide, which I'm coming later. So in hyperventilation, like now, if you exhale, if you try to exhale, put your hand, you see it's heat. They are taking heat from the body to vaporize the water. And once they vaporize the water, the tendency is for the temperature to drop inside. Now, if you start moving, beyond that panting, at that panting period, if it's not corrected, that's the ambient temperature is not corrected, they'll start dying from heat stroke. And most of the heat we are getting is from the radiant heat from the sun through the infrared component of the electromagnetic waves. Now, you are releasing, when you look at, now, two things are involved here. You are deploying the bicarbonates. The bicarbonates are the buffers the blood of the pH. That means even if you're adding acid or whatever from anywhere, it is buffering it to 7.49, which is the normal pH. If you add proton, it will adjust. It will adjust it to the normal. If you add the hydroxy component, moiety, or that is which is alkaline, it will adjust. So now, during the emergency period of hyperventilation, whereby the body is releasing through panting a lot of heat, water, and carbon dioxide, they are removing the proton from the bloodstream. And when you are dropping the proton, you are increasing the alkalinity, and that's what we call metabolic alkalosis. And what do I mean by proton? I mean by proton, let me explain myself. Because hydrogen atom, as an atom, has one electron, one proton, no neutron. So because it has no neutron, once you remove electron from hydrogen atom in terms of ionization to have a hydrogen ion, the hydrogen ions are called proton, because what only is left when you remove the electron is proton, because there is no neutron, unless you are dealing with radioactive hydrogen. So that is why in some posology, in some textbooks, they call hydrogen ion proton. And then because you are dealing with DVM holders and postgraduate students, we don't continue to say hydrogen ion. We call it what it is. Like in drug chemistry, posologists, you are dealing with you are dealing with ulcers, and you are removing hydrogen ion to drop the acidity of the gastric chamber. What they call they say that this thing is a proton. They will call it hydrogen ion. They will call it proton. They will call the drug, in all posology, they will call it proton. They will call it hydrogen ion because of this chemistry I have. So now, the carbonic acid, which dissociates into the bicarbonate and the proton in the bloodstream, will reconvene. Proton will be added again. That means they revolve back to carbonic acid, and vapor will be removed, and carbon dioxide. And I said water will be removed by vapor. The state of water, when you boil water, is vapor, not gas. It is only when you heat it further that water becomes gas. But under steam or vapor, it is a transitionary phase to gas. So let us know this fundamental colligative chemistry. Now, I have discussed this. You can see the lower critical temperature between 18 degrees and 22 degrees centigrade. That is within the thermoneutral zone. Outside that, you see slow panting. When the heat increases, maximum heat loss, you start having bodies cannot control body temperature, and then death will come from heat. Now, at this point, you can see from slow panting here to fast panting. That panting to remove a lot of heat. And then I say it here, heat are removed across. Heat are not removed against temperature gradient. It's difficult to remove heat. That's why the other system of removing heat will be almost impossible, like convection, conducting. No, you remove heat across temperature gradient. That means if the temperature is high, ambient temperature is high, it will be difficult for heat to flow from the body through convection mechanism heat transfer to the outside. The only thing that you need are extraneous factors to release that heat, and that is what they are using in panting. But naturally, heat flows from where they are high to where they are low. Low. But that's where you have high temperature to where you have low temperature. But once the ambient temperature is high, that system of flowing through convection, you are not going to have it. You might have it through radiation, but now the method used here now is through panting. And that panting will cause metabolic alkalosis. And one thing about metabolic alkalosis, after all this description, that calcium metabolism does not function well in metabolic alkalosis and metabolic alkalotic pH. And that's why I'm having some terrible signals on the eggshells, like shellless egg, cracked egg, cracked shells, weak eggs, and blah, 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 blah. And then when you look at it, you see some configuration. You can see, corrugated. You can see weak, very weak shell here. Even you can see this one doesn't even have shell at all. It's just like egg yolk sitting inside the egg membrane. Now, we've done this. Now, in conclusion, a good avian physician should know the dynamics behind calcium mobilization for egg formation. And such knowledge will make the physician to be on the guard to forestall poor shell formation, secondary to hypocalcemia, and by extension, function of economic loss in the poultry laying industry. So I think a lot of issues will come up at the question and answer time. Thank you. I think I've tried a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Did you all see all these slides I was sharing?
Yes, we could see them. We could see them. Good. Thank you very much. Please, can we give a round of applause as to thank Dr. Charles Sibe for a well-researched topic. Thank you so much. He has talked about actually the metabolism of calcium in laying domestic chickens. And from all he has told us this morning, he has been able to tell us that calcium is an essential nutrient that is needed in laying birds. And not only for the eggs alone, it is actually for so many other things, for bones, even in heart and nerves and blood clotting system, we know calcium to be very effective in all these areas. And don't forget, when we talk about metabolism, we're actually talking about catabolism and anabolism. And that is why Dr. Ibe has taken us through microanatomy, taking us through histo and histology, taking us through macroanatomy. So we have all those that we have been taking through this morning. And I'll just take a brief recapitulation on what he had told us. And then I will hand over to my brother, Professor Usman Musa, who is going to take the question and answer time. There's also the need for us, he mentioned the parathyroid hormone. let me quickly put in at this point in time that there's no amount of calcium metabolism that you talk about that you will not mention parathyroid hormone. Parathyroid hormone is actually the most important hormone that regulates calcium metabolism in any organism. We also have the calcitonin. We know that parathyroid hormone is a hormone that is released from the parathyroid gland when there is a stimulus of low calcium ion, that is low Ca2+. So once that is happening, you see that there is a signal that goes to the parathyroid gland, which is below, of course, below around the brain, and then it releases parathyroid hormone. And once parathyroid hormone is released, what happens? There are three major things that happen. You see that there is mobilization of calcium from the bone, you see mobilization of calcium from the gut, and then you see reduction of calcium, from the kidney release. So that shows there will be lower calcium release through the kidneys. And with that, homeostasis comes up. So the way the God has regulated the system, that is how it is. And don't forget, Dr. Ibe told us just now that for egg production, because we are talking about laying birds, which is actually the subject of the day, you need a lot of calcium for that to happen. You need a lot of calcium to happen. And like I said, parathyroid hormone is a major hormone, but then we also have what is called calcitonin, which is another hormone that regulates calcium, although not as effective as parathyroid hormone. We have calcitonin, and also we have active vitamin D3, which is actually called 1,25-dihydroxycholecalciferol. All those are important in calcium metabolism. There's no how you can talk about calcium metabolism and you will not mention all that. I'll quickly run through some of the things that I put down from his presentation, just to remind us and add some few things to it. He mentioned that various problems that are related to calcium, including hypocalcemia, osteoporosis, sudden death, fatigue. You see the ends, they prostrate because they are now weak. And we know that osteoporosis is a major cause of death in high production flux. Osteoporosis is a major death. We also know that hypocalcemia, it can actually cause what we call calcium tetany. And that is what a layman calls paralysis, because we know that calcium also is involved in neurological system. So we know that there can be what we call calcium tetany. Also, you talk about panting, the clinical signs. Panting, you see the birds spreading their wings. You see prostration, which may be evident in the early morning hours preceding paralysis and death. Ants may be down, unable to rise. They become paralyzed and are the object of increased mating attempts and male aggression because they are down. So the male feels that it is time for them to, and this can often be misdiagnosed as male kills, or, male kills. You think that it's a male that have been aggressive, but that is not it in its entirety. Less common causes of hypocalcemia are low calcium concentration in breeder feed, too small limestone particle size, and exaggerated separation of heavy minerals in mash field. He also told us that the condition seems to be more during the hot weather months, and it can be exacerbated by inadequate cooling and ventilation. Cases are often reported in the early morning after feeding, a time when birds in a commercial setting intentionally gather together in a small space to consume feed, decreasing the ability of moving air to effectively cool birds and increasing metabolic heat production. All these, we have been told this morning, and we've been also told that the feeding recommended levels of calcium, should be appropriate, especially in laying birds. Death and presence of egg in the shell glands also can be caused by a condition that is referred to as sudden death syndrome, So immature and undersized pullets that have been fed too much, too fast to grow also can have this condition. And we have so many other, signs and symptoms that you can see. So ladies and gentlemen, based on all these that we have heard this morning, I believe we have been thoroughly dealt with, by discussing this issue of calcium metabolism in laying birds. And like I said, productivity is a major point for any farmer that has laying birds. You want to produce, you want to have more. And don't forget, Dr. Ebe told us that once you start seeing birds that are not laying, it is best to select them out so that they will not influence others. You start using your 3-finger, to check the vent because of the low egg production. On this note, I believe we have so much to discuss. So I'll hand over to my brother, my friend, Professor Usman Musa, who is going to take the question and answer time, comments, your questions, your concern, which will be thoroughly handled by our speaker this morning. Thank you very much. Professor Usman, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Prof. Actually, you have also given us another lecture. It is very good. Dr. Ibe is all-rounder. In fact, when he's presenting, I thought he's a pathologist. And when another thing, he's all over the place. You'll see him when you come to biological, Dr. Obe is sound. When you come to small animal, he is there. And the way he's presenting poultry, you think that he's a nutritionist and all those things. The chief actually has done very well. And I think it's very educative. And the only thing, it goes down to cost-benefit analysis. If you look, like here in Sokoto, so many egg vendors, they purchase egg around Ibadan, around Ilorin, and other places. By the time they arrive, you see the number of crates they've lost. Simply, the eggshell quality is not there. You have 1,000 crates, you may have up to 50 crates that are broken. And if you calculate, you find that another thing that also increases the egg price, especially off here where we go and purchase the eggs, simply because of the eggshell quality. And this animal cost to a businessman. I thought Dr. Ibe will touch on that as a businessman. It doesn't stop at the farmer. It also reaches the vendors, and the loss is enormous. So actually, as I said, it's highly educative. It is now, we let the people to ask questions, explanations, or contributions they may have. So the floor is now open for those ones that have questions, contributions, or observations.
Yeah, Professor Ibokwe is here. Let him.
Okay.
Yeah, Professor Ibokwe, please unmute yourself and then give us your pep talk. Is he with us, or are we seeing Professor Ibokwe? Yeah.
Yes, I'm with you.
Please, let's see your face, sir, and then pass your comments.
Good. Yeah, I enjoyed your presentation. A veterinarian is supposed to be versatile. You've touched everything. I've enjoyed every bit of it, and they're updated, so to say. I know that this information are important. I was also hoping that towards the end, you will now start giving us strategies, solutions, and how we're going to deal with it. Because as a farmer and a practitioner, there may be some products you are going to be promoting. Yes, there are three angles to it. Calcium is supposed to be entering through the diet. It's supposed to be doing something within the body of the bird. And it's also supposed to be exiting through the urinary excretion, so to say. So there has to be a balance. How do we stop the excretion? How do we get it in the feed? How do we maintain, the metabolic balance so that everything will be working very well for optimum egg production? So there are management issues that are going to be highlighted. There are products that are supposed to be presented to the birds as supplements. And there is also need to manage the heat stress that could be detrimental to egg production.
Yeah.
On the whole, we're looking at increased egg production and better quality of eggs and calcium health of our producing chicken populations. So thank you for highlighting these things.
Yeah.
Yes, I was happy that you also mentioned quite a number of diseases that also can come into play, like EDS, egg drop syndrome, Newcastle disease, salmonellosis, pasteurellosis, or some of these bacterial diseases. They can also interfere with
especially those that are causing gastroenteritis.
Yes. So at the end, there is a poor absorption of calcium and alteration of calcium metabolism. Even some mineral supplements that if there is no zinc and the calcium may not be properly absorbed, and there are some also other minerals that are provided in the feed if there are complementary interactions that take place. So some of these things, it's holistic. We can't get everything in one presentation like you have done, but I appreciate what you have done as a stimulus for us to think much more deeply on this subject.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you. And then thank you for guiding the junior ones when you were in UNN. I remember as a distinction students, we are flocking around you. At least, even if we can't make distinction, we'll make something close to it. Or what we call let my people go. Let my people go. Actually, Prof was a brilliant student, and we recognize that, and we used to flow. More especially, in fact, I read him as Guyton. Let me just say it. Because anything I read in Guyton, I don't understand. I rush to him, and he will explain it out for me. Then he was a roommate to one of my classmates, and to see that. So there's something he mentioned. I mentioned about supplement, balanced diet, whatever. And more especially when people are producing feed to cut costs, one has to be careful. Our advice farmers, our advice veterinarians to move, if you are an avian veterinarian, go into ration formulation, be advanced in ration formulation. But one thing I want to say here right now is that bioavailability of products differ from one type of product to another type of product. The best one here now, which breeders use, which I used when breeding was dicalcium phosphate. You can't compare it with limestone, and you cannot compare it with bone meal. So one thing I'm trying to say here is that, just like you said, there are a lot of cost cutting in terms of ration formulation. But you, as a veterinarian, if you are formulating your own feed or you are formulating feed for your client, make sure that you use products that the calcium is available. And another thing I will discuss here, that you find calcium uptake is not calcium assimilation. As you are moving from one stage of biochemical movement of calcium, anatomically from one place to the other, you are dropping the value. It's not all the calcium that enters into the gastroenteric tract that you find in the bloodstream after assimilation. It's not all that gets to the target. Just like you said, some of them are excreted out. And more especially in some diseases like IB, infectious bronchitis, where even the calciums are deposited in the kidney. And that is one of the functions of this pore shell formation. And it's not all the calcium that gets to the target are utilized. And it's not even all the calcium that even are bioavailable at the target. If you go to the target like the egg cell gland, the oviduct of the uterus, and then you start having dysfunctional oviduct, start having scraping of all those ciliated epithelia, columnar epithelia, especially under egg drop syndrome, you won't get to what you are looking for. So it is holistic. You manage your diseases, you manage your ration. So that is it. You manage your ration. You manage your diseases. And just like Professor Davis, it's not every calcium you put inside. It's not every calcium that that goes to egg production. There are some for muscular movement. There are some that are trapped, that trap aberrant parasitism. That's another thing. In aberrant parasitism, when you parasite, see some stages of parasite, worms, nematodes in wrong aberrant sites. That's what we call aberrant parasitism. Calciums are mobilized to cordon them off and restrict them from raking up. So there are a lot of the fate of calcium. So that's
thank you, Doctor. Actually, formulating feed now for small holders, poultry farmers, it seems to be a little bit difficult now for them if you look the cost of maize, the electricity problem, and other things. But for the large-scale producers of feed, I think our thing is that the enforcement agency, like Standard Organization of Nigeria, they should come in, they should have standard on the level of all those ingredients they are mentioning in our feed. Without that, you see, we have a long way to go. Most farmers, you see that the feed we purchase in the market, we now have these things, and that's why this problem keep on recurring. Not only disease aspect, even the inclusion levels of the feed there has a problem. So all those things come into play. I think are those areas we need to look into them. Thank you.
Professor Aminu Abubakar is raising his hand. So
yes, I have sent Aminu Abubakar, MS Abubakar, Umar from Professor Umar from Maiduguri. They are all here, and more are going to join. And because I forgot little to share the things to them, but I have done so now.
No, we are streaming on YouTube, so we can.
Yes, I think you need to
we can send it to them to watch it later. Then yes, Professor Aminu Abubakar, please.
Okay, thank you, sir. Good morning.
But Prof, Prof, you are welcome. Oh.
Yeah,
thank you. I'm sorry, I have just seen I have just seen the message, and I tried to get in, and unfortunately, you are at the conclusion. But I think good that you have summarized some of the problems. What I just wanted to add is that the Standard Organization of Nigeria, I think in 2018, have sat down in Lagos. I was part of the participants there. We reviewed the standards for feed millers, for premix producers, and for poultry farmers. And if one goes through all those things, he will be able to see what we have done at that time. We have reviewed the nutrient requirements of all classes of birds, and we have also set the standard. So it's there. I think the last update was in 2018. And secondly, when we are talking about the issue of feed formulation, it's now a very difficult task. Just 2 days back, I was trying to formulate the feed, and I found out that when I formulate the feed, it will be about 18,600 naira per bag. And while in the market, it's only about 18,000. But yesterday, surprisingly, some of the feed millers have also raised their. Immediately, I look at my calculation and found that it is 18,500. I told my colleague that by tomorrow they will increase the feed. And unfortunately, fortunately for my this is so when I woke up in the morning, I wanted to order for another feed. They say they have added 700 naira. So this 700 naira, when you add from Kano or from Kaduna before it lands in Sokoto, it will be about 18,600 naira. So this issue, I think, has gone beyond, and there are other problems. And there is also another problem that we encountered, that is adulteration of minor ingredients like premix, like methionine, lysine. All this thing has now been adulterated. So when you are going into commercial feed, I'm just talking out of experience. I have to switch to commercial diet.
You're right.
But this, so this kind of problem is also very, very important, and it helps farmers to know and to also probably solve the problem. But I fear for the poultry industry in Nigeria. Yeah. Now in Sokoto, we sell eggs at 4,200, and when you calculate, it will be about 4,300 before you produce a crate of egg. So thank you. Let me allow others to contribute.
Yeah,
thank you very
much. Professor Ogundipe Senior, who is a poultry nutritionist, senior brother to our own Professor Ogundipe. worked with Naprizaria, told me one day that he analyzed methionine that's supposed to be 99.9%. And what he got, methionine and lysine, and what he got was 20%. In fact, he told me the company actually, and then told me, he said, let it not be that he was the one, and gave it to a postgraduate student he was supervising. The postgraduate student got the same result. So when we are having a system that has regulation failure or regulatory failure, this is what we see. NAFDAC is there for administration and control of every chemical. It's too big for them to lash in on. And even the human health pharmacy, they've not even regulated it enough. Not to talk about the veterinary, the feed, the chemical. And now you are going to standard organization. So everything is in disarray. But the only thing is that when you are dealing with your own situation, trying to get the better one, you are talking about you formulated your feed and got, is it 18.5, and they're selling 18, means that they are cutting corners. Because at the 18.5 you got your feed should be their selling point to somebody who will resell to you to around 21,000. What the feed millers do is to cut a lot of cost. Yes, and it is affecting in the productivity.
Yes, doctor, that is the thing, but we don't have a say when it comes to commercial feed. Professor Aminu is not only a professor of animal science, he is also a farmer. He has a very big farm.
See, you must have known, you know Professor Gundipa I'm talking about.
Yes, we know.
So very much familiar with him.
That is as my Kifi that ask question. Most of the time, farmers resort to using calcipolos. It's a popular drug. We don't want to mention trade names, but most of the farmers resort to using it when they see problem with their egg production. So he's asking you to throw more light on production problems associated with calcium metabolism and that of other diseases like ND. I think you have mentioned some of that. Maybe you can further explain to him.
Yeah, talking about, he says, scars. You see, there are a lot of claims. There are a lot of claims out there I cannot substantiate. Personally, a lot. A lot I see. Some of them include all these bottle, crude preparation and crude prep. You see a lot of things. I cannot substantiate the ones I can't substantiate. I cannot substantiate ones that look suspicious.
But doctor, what about farmers using getting the bone meal, crush it themselves, and maybe add it?
Yeah. You see, the problem we have is the processing.
Yes.
That's a big problem. What is the clean, KLIN, that process that bone into that minerals?
No, they use firewood to burn it.
That's the thing. That's the problem. Imagine using smoke to be part of your bone meal. Smokes are anti-nutritive. But if you fire them, if you have fire them through a clean technology that can fire them, you don't have, in the process of firing them, you have the blue light, showing that there is complete combustion. Because once you have incomplete combustion, carbon products will emerge. Some funny carbon products will emerge. With complete combustion, you have only carbon dioxide and water vapor. So when you start having carbon on it, under incomplete metabolism, you cannot smoke with fire and without getting incomplete combustion. And in incomplete combustion, there are some funny products that are anti-nutritive.
Yes, thank you, doctor. I think like Professor Aminu, what he said, actually, I think the onus lies on the regulatory authorities
Yeah.
To really regulate this. And I think veterinarians will have to come in and see that the feed, because most of the farmers nowadays, some years back, really, the number of people that produce their own feed are high. But now I think that number is reducing because of what Professor Amin has mentioned. So I think we need to focus more. And
in fact, I have seen dicalcium phosphate from China that was, oh God.
Forget about it. Those things, even the pigment from China, if you analyze it,
I've seen dicalcium phosphate from China. If you get products from areas that has questionable regulatory controls, you are going to get funny things. Ike is raising his hand, sir. Unmute yourself and talk. Yes, sir.
Thank you. What we need to be doing is making sure some of these products that come into the country that are being used are clinically tried. Tried in the sense that we get them, let the farmers use them. We that are in the academia, in animal science, we are running farms, test them out in small sample sizes, not going exposing all your birds to them, and be a farmer that is continuously researching, so that if you have good output with them, then you can continue using them and recommend it for others, so that we just don't be using things blindly. But that's not what is happening now. We just go to the market, buy things, and we use them. Teaching hospitals, veterinary teaching hospitals should be doing much more serious evaluations of some of these products to find out whether they fit our system. So far, most of the eggs I buy in Maiduguri area here, they are okay. They are good. Only that the preservation is poor. Sometimes you get eggs that are bad, and we have other worries like antibiotic levels in the egg. So that would be for another day to look at.
It's for another discussion.
Yeah,
maybe somebody will come.
Especially if you look here, the heat stress is another serious factor we're battling with, especially during the dry season. You see a lot of things, despite that the feed there, the enough quantity, the bird is not taken, so it's not getting enough calcium. And we're having so much problem during the heat stress in terms of eggshell quality. So all those things. Do we have more questions so that the doctor will attend to them?
Not only doctor will attempt. I have some, while I aggregated big heads here, is that if I run into a problem, they will bail me out. They will bail me out. It's a smart move. That's
yeah.
It's okay.
So I think from what I have here, I have no questions on the chat.
Professor Usman.
Yes,
there's somebody that has a feed, Jagaba feed here. Can we hear from him?
Yeah.
How does he get about calcium in the feed? Can he just give us some idea also? Let's allow him to
he's not a veterinarian, and I use his feed very much here. His feed is cheaper cost than any feed.
We should allow him speak.
Well, allow him. Let him talk, please.
Yes. Alhaji, can you hear us?
Alhaji, I beg.
Alhaji Ismail. I don't know whether he can hear us. Alhaji Ismail.
We speak on his behalf.
Yes.
Okay. Jason, is it Jason?
Jagaba
feed is a very big seminar based in Funtua.
Jagaba feed, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Unmute yourself, sir.
Oh, he's muted. Please unmute yourself.
Unmute yourself, sir. You can talk.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
It's a privilege to join you.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry, though I joined very late. I'm on transit. I just parked by the roadside to join you people. Thank you very much. And then
be careful where you park, Oga. Nigeria.
I am in Zaria actually. At BZ.
Okay.
Yes. The lecture is very enlightening and then very educative. And then everybody that joins it, I believe, he have gotten one or two informations that will help in the process. So what is the question that you were asking, sir?
He said, no, what we are trying to, is there anything you have to say?
Well, how are you processing your feed? I mean,
yes,
how are you getting your calcium? That's the question, sir.
Well, I'm not the nutritionist, I'm the MD.
Yes,
so,
I know.
I don't know the
process. At least you pay for ingredients.
I source my calcium from bone meal and limestone.
Well, limestone.
That's of my calcium. Yes, I source my limestone from Lokoja, Oji State.
They have high deposit of limestone.
Yes, we are getting 37-38% there.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, actually, I've been.
Okay. Yeah, they have a lot of limestone in.
Yes, actually, I've been using his feed. We don't have issue of calcium with his feed so far for now.
Okay.
And I can attest that maybe from the source they are getting maybe reliable, and they have a quality control lab and they are located in their laboratory. And I visited the place actually, and I have seen what they're doing. And if they keep on doing it, I think the farmers may not suffer for that issue of calcium.
Okay.
Professor
Abubakar wants to
say.
Let
us finish hearing from the
MD. No. Before he complains, I think what I was just saying, his feed is the cheapest feed in the market, and which is even beyond what somebody can think of. But I know it's a marketing strategy. He may not be able to let us benefit from that one.
But you are infinitely able to
the difference.
Strategy.
You see, the difference.
I'm trying to bring things down to the farmers so that they will be able to enjoy the benefit of our locality, since we are in the source of raw materials. So it's not a marketing strategy. I'm into this feed business for almost 8 years now, and then our price is always the cheapest compared to others. So I believe if I'm doing it for marketing strategy, I could have changed to norms by now. But still, I'm still maintaining the price reduction.
We pray you continue maintaining it.
So Jagaba feed, is that your number? Is that your ends with 223?
Yes, 223.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
There's another person that sent his number that ends with 667.
It's one of my boys.
Okay.
Okay.
It's my plant manager.
Okay. I let your plant manager talk.
Daria?
No, Puntua.
Okay.
Puntua.
Let your manager talk.
So bring him in.
Alhaji, kindly drop your contact. Okay.
No, I wanted him to send it straight to Ross.
Who?
No, it's my own. It's my own.
Okay, your own number. Okay.
It's my own.
Okay, the Jagaba will have your number. So we will contact you later. If there's yes.
Okay, sir.
Professor.
Thank you very much.
Okay, no problem. Since you're in Funtua is just close to me. There. Which that they will not catch me between Napri.
No, that place is safe. It's safe.
Okay. By the time they catch me now, they call you for ransom. You run out. You tell them you don't know me. You've not ever seen me in your life. Baby. Now, so okay, Professor Abubakar, please. Oh, this is an interesting topic. Abubakar.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much.
Are you a pilot? Are you a pilot? I'm seeing the.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm a pilot.
What I'm seeing is like a cockpit.
Chief, let him ask his question, I beg.
All right. The issue.
We can hear you. Let him ask his question. Let him ask his question, sir.
I didn't join very early, but one issue that I see that was not emphasized throughout the discussion that I had after I joined was the issue of phosphorus or phosphate.
Yes, yes.
Calcium metabolism, phosphorus is very important because there is need to keep a balance between calcium and phosphate within the system.
Yeah.
If there is high phosphate in the diet, certainly the calcium level is coming down, or calcium level will go higher to compensate to that phosphorus. And where will the calcium get? Where will the system get the calcium? Is to instigate the parathyroid hormone to look for calcium wherever the calcium is. And where will the parathyroid hormone get the calcium is around the bone or anything that has to utilize calcium, just to balance for the presence of high phosphate in the diet. So because maybe now maize is very expensive, people might resort to be using bran in making their feeding. And bran, we know it has high level of phosphate in it. No matter the amount of calcium you supply, it will not be balancing that presence of high phosphate in bran if companies are using bran in making their feed. And this is my observation and contribution.
Yeah,
I think
thank
we need
you.
to check.
You
Thank
came
you,
late. We discussed.
Professor MS Abubakar, thank you.
Thank you. We discussed about phosphorus imbalance.
Yes.
When we are talking about things that can affect calcium metabolism.
Yes,
we spoke.
There is very high level of phosphate in bran. Dusa, what we call Dusa in Hausa. There's high level of phosphate.
Calcium problem is a myriad of problems. There are so many things attached to it.
Yes. And hello, most of the plant phosphates are phytated phosphates. Most of the plant phosphates are not free phosphates.
Yes, but they affect calcium balance in the system.
Yeah, that's if what I'm saying is that most plant phosphates,
yes,
phosphates from plant origin,
yes,
are phytated. They are attached. They are not free phosphates.
Yes.
So what we are discussing about phosphates that are biologically available.
Yes,
and not because all the tied ones. You see, there are some in our advanced country. If you want to use phosphate from plants, you need to untie it to release it. There are certain,
there is a disease in horses, osteodystrophia fibrosa.
Yes.
The major cause of that disease in horses is when you continue to feed the horses with bran only as a source of food. And that is the major cause of that osteodystrophia fibrosa in horses. They call it bran or Miller's disease.
No. Is it caused by high level of phosphate or low level of phosphate?
Because of the presence of that phosphate in bran.
Okay.
That is it. Thank you.
Sorry, Prof.
Thank you, Prof.
Sorry, Prof.
A staff of Jargaba want to say something.
And just before then, that's why in feed formulation, we talk of available phosphate. We don't just say, we just don't close our eyes and say any phosphate, but we say we go on available phosphate. What is available? What is going to be available to the birds? Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Let me ask you a direct question. Sorry, Alaji.
Yes, continue.
Yes. Are you using bran in your feed formulation or you are not using? That's the question I just want.
Okay, for Jargaba feed?
Yes.
They should use maize offer or wheat offer.
Wheat offer.
All right.
Most times they use either maize offer or wheat offer. But maize offer is few. They get it locally.
All right.
Which makes it more dangerous because if you get a maize offer locally from all these millers, it might be infected.
Yes.
Maize bran, so wheat bran are from flour mills, which have a level of biosecurity.
Excuse me, sir. I think we have a maize flour mill in our area, in my factory. So we are using it as source of our maize bran. We don't use a local distillate. It's factory.
You are using as wheat. You are using a wheat bran.
No,
we are using wheat bran, but very little quantity.
Okay, they have a maize processing plant there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, any more questions, contributions, observations, or recommendations?
We have Professor Magaji here from Sokoto. Professor Magaji, please unmute yourself, please, and discuss with us. Yes, we've been looking for you. He's a member of the Veterinary
And
Council
Professor
of Nigeria.
Magaji is a member of Veterinary Council of Nigeria.
Yes.
Member.
Good
morning,
I think
all.
we have Professor Bamai here too, Dean, Faculty of Vet Medicine.
And we have also a young vet here, Dr. Samir Ladan. He's also in poultry consulting.
So please, we need cross hybridization or pollination or whatever, or fertilization. Please, whatever. All we want is knowledge.
Yeah. Dr. Samir, anything you want to say?
I wanted to ask.
The raised hand is still up. Is it a new hand or old hand?
Professor Zikech, would you want to speak with us?
I wanted to say something to Davis.
Okay, what is hand is up?
I wanted to say something to Davis and to congratulate her over what has happened at Ibadan.
Oh, but thank you.
I noticed that the attendance here is very low, 22. Does it mean that this one is not, it doesn't have any value for our continuing education, CE? Does it have CE credits?
No.
no, does not have CE credits. But then it can upgrade if Dr. Ibe applies to VCN.
Dr. Ibe will not apply.
No, apply, Chief. Apply. We want you to apply.
Dr. Ibe is an independent vet. Please. I'm not applying. I beg.
You are removing a cap.
Yes, so. And you are seeing my beat.
There's a lot of content that is good for practice. I've got some tips here that I didn't have earlier than now. I've met a feed producer right now, and probably I will be able to get his contacts and know what he's doing. And it's important that we realize that all these small lectures that we are doing online, they add up to the big thing. And Professor David also recognize that I've already attended one here.
That's true. That's true.
Professor Magaji, please unmute yourself, sir.
I have, sir.
Yeah, I wanted to make you deputy council president. You ran away.
Thank you very much.
You are dealing with Dr. Ibe. Don't worry.
Yes. It's my pleasure being here, sir. I'm learning a lot.
Are you returning back to council?
No, not after our time.
After your time, you're coming back.
No.
No, he's coming back. It's time now.
Are you okay? You are timed out.
I'm done, sir. I'm done.
Professor Magaji, okay, sir. Continue.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Is there anything you are going to tell us? No.
No, just to say that I have learned a great deal. It's been a long time since I have not had much to do with poultry medicine or clinics, but I have learned a lot. It has refreshed my mind, and of course, there are new things I have also learned in the presentation.
Okay, what did you learn from a trader?
Dr. Ibe, don't mind him. His wife is keeping backyard poultry.
Okay.
And I'm her consultant. I'm her consultant.
And Professor Magaji has not told us that he has returned back to Udus.
Yeah, you know it.
He was in fact, there was a time he was in a lorry.
Okay.
You know, during the ASO strike, it was a lorry. Then I was asking him whether they are doing private lesson.
Okay. He actually went to Zuru to save them. So he has completed and the school is established now.
Yes.
So thank you for that, Professor Magaji.
Yes, Prof. Thank you very much, Professor and Chair.
Professor Magaji actually established.
Who again? I saw. Who again did I see? Let me see. Bola
Oladoshu here. There's Dr. Bolarumi Oladoshu here.
Yeah.
From the University of Ibadan.
Yes, Bola, can you add their pep talk so that we can.
Dr. Oladoshu, please, you have the floor.
He had the floor last. last week.
Yes, he presented
now
last
it looks
week.
like he's interested in our program. Okay. He might
You
even
invited him
convey,
now.
he might convey his knowledge to fish.
Okay, so Dr. Oladeshi, you have the
Oladeshi,
floor.
yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I'm excited to be part of this.
Thank you.
Dr. Ibe has been an all-rounder all his while, dishing out his wealth of knowledge in every area. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. We appreciate your presentation. Of course, one has been able to learn one or two things from these, and for some of us that are moving close to retirement, we won't put all our eggs in one basket.
You are not retiring yet now.
we are moving. We are inching closely to it, so we begin to think now. It's not when we are there that we now begin to think. Poultry business will also be very attractive, in spite of the cost of feeding and the rest of it. With what we have been told today, if one will look inward and see how to cut costs on feeding without compromising on quality, that will help a lot.
Another thing, prepare, because there are a lot of criminals in poultry. They can still
Who told you? No.
They can invite kidnappers. Your boys can invite kidnappers to kidnap you. When after stealing everything, they can steal you on the road to your farm. So because anything in poultry farm is stealable. So prepare for dangers ahead. Thank you.
Professor Omar Isa from University of Maiduguri, do you have something to add?
Professor Omar, please.
From University of Maiduguri.
In the next 10 minutes, we're out of
Can you unmute yourself? I think in the next. Professor Omar Isa, can you unmute yourself? Okay, maybe he's not hearing us.
There is also Dr. Abayomi Bankole, who I think is a poultry farmer. If he's the bank, Dr. Bankole, please can you unmute yourself and talk about your experience with us, please? Dr. Abayomi Bankole.
Well, thank you, the chair, Prof. Davis. I'm right. I'm not actually a poultry consultant or specialist. I was back in the day. I was a small animal practitioner. Currently, an upcoming lecturer in a National Open University. So
yeah.
I just entered a few years ago here. So I'm just trying to build up on research in animal science, agriculture, as well as pet medicine. So I don't really have much experience with poultry. Thank you, ma. But I appreciate the presentation by our, I don't want to call him I chief.
Okay, you can call me low chief.
Yeah.
If I'm not a high chief, you can call me a low chief.
High chief,
in bottom line, that there is a chief in that.
Okay, so you can start actually poultry, buy just 10 pieces and keep it at your backyard. From there, with these lectures, we'll come back to you to be a poultry man.
Praying that your pussycat will not catch you.
I will appreciate that so much. Thank you, sir.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. I think now we have done enough. I will hand over to Professor Ola Davis for other things, who she will hand us back to Chief. Thank you very much. Thank you, MS Abubakar. Thank you, all the contributors. And thank you, all the participants. Professor Ola Davis, back to you, please.
Thank you very much, my brother.
Yes.
I believe all of us, we have enjoyed this session thoroughly. We have enjoyed this session thoroughly. And let me thank every participant. Actually, we eat 27, 26, before now. People coming in and, popping out. Let me thank all the distinguished professors that are on this platform that have come. Thank you for your humility and your consistency. Thank you so much. Also, I want to thank everyone, that is all of our colleagues that are here. I thank you so much for coming. I thank you for coming. I believe we are all going back with one thing or the other. Also, our feed miller that is here, we thank you for coming. I hope you will keep up the standard. I'm so happy about the testimony that we have about your product. And I believe that even on this platform, you have been able to attract more customers. And on this note, let me hand over to the high chief himself.
Hello, chief.
No, the high chief himself, Dr. Charles Ibe, who is the convener of this program. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Let me just say something. Let me appeal to all of us about our YouTube program. I'm going to put the YouTube. I'm going to put the YouTube link so that you can go and then watch as you're watching, and we'll send it round. As you're watching, please be subscribing to our YouTube channel. It makes us, we don't have any other alternative platform to rake up funds when the time comes than for subscription you give us, because we spend a lot of money to come up with knowledge and ideas, and we're going to stream a lot of people on board here for them to discuss one or two things to our own credo. So please, as you watch our YouTube channel, please be clicking the subscription, and that's it. And on the issue about veterinary council be an educator, I'm a trader. That one, I wear two shoes. Anyone I like, I will put, I will fling it. When it comes to that, I'm a trader. There is no Baba and Vulture has no business being together, and I don't have business being an educator. But the only thing I've been researching, I've been a poultry farmer, and one thing I forgot to say here is that another problem I had, which I want people to take home during my course of practice, is people debeaking their birds at wrong time when their birds are in top production. If you depict them, naturally you're going to have your eggs 1 week after 2 weeks. By the time they exhaust the medullary bone, they switch on to compact bone. In about 10 days, the problem will start coming with speed. So I discussed about white layers, prolific white layers, where you what do you call it, make feed that meant for the normal layers, and you are making it for prolific layers, that you are bound to exhaust the medullary bone, warehousing the calcium. And once you exhaust the warehouse of calcium, you are going to switch into another warehouse, secondary warehouse, which is compact bone. And once you get to compact bone and switch it off, you're going to have a problem. So 2 things: if you debeak your birds, they won't take enough calcium for you to sustain them, and then they will exhaust the medullary bone. After that, the compact bone, and then your problem starts. Thank you very much. I think I've spoken enough. And I have a lot of topics I'm preparing for the future. A lot, being an avian physician. It's not when I left my practice, my trading, and went to UI to be a part of this with Postgraduate College of Veterinary Medicine. I'm surgeon, and that veterinary surgeon, actually. I don't know why I call it veterinary medicine, because it looks a misnomer to people like me. Anyway, when I left to go, and I was really brushed by Professor Adene, Professor no, Professor Pebe was in pathology. He did not. He was Paul Abdu. Professor Paul Abdu. Yes. So that's, so, it was an interesting program for me, because in my life, I like to read a lot. I like to work so hard. I like to know, because I am born. I want to learn. Thank you, thank you very much. Once in a while, periodically, as we have lined out a lot of speakers, Omobowale will soon come on board, or Dr. will soon come on board, Emipe will soon come on board. Professor Jahu next week will discuss about canine parvovirus infection. So we have lined up a lot of topics, so that once you come into our channel, you will learn. That is the idea. Thank you very much. And remember to go to our channel, and we'll soon distribute this this video for everybody to at least rehearse. And those that came late, please don't worry, you have time to look at it once again. Thank you very much. I think we are all on our, well,